Hi, and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at some operational definitions. Today's operational definition would be covering the myths around mental illness. Is someone weak if they're mentally ill? And is it their fault? We're going to also be defining a mental disorder. Let's start by debunking the first myth. And to do that, we're calling on an expert in the field, Professor Dr. Gerard Hutchinson. He's very well published internationally. He has over 180 publications, and links for his articles would be left in the link below. According to Dr. Hutchinson, mental illness has nothing to do with weakness. It could happen to anyone and occurs on a continuum from wellness to illness. And now we're going to define a mental disorder. Now, what I want you to I want to just put a pin right here to say that the other myth around, is it someone's fault, whatever happens to them, is it their fault? Please, 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 parents, foster parents, teachers, if you see a child withdrawing, isolating, and they're going through something very difficult that you happen to know about, and there's a very good chance that they're thinking that it was their fault, kindly let them know that it was not their fault. Okay, please, let them know how many people that this has already also happened to, and it is in no way, shape, or any shape or form their fault. It's very important to take that weight, that shame off of the child. Okay, now we're going to get into the definition of mental disorder. We see people, might witness their struggles, but we really have no idea what it is like to live in their shoes. So mental disorders categorized, it's classified as a cluster of syndromes where there is no main point to say, well, this caused it or that caused it. It's a combination of things. Typically, when you go to a professional, mental health professional, they're going to ask you a series of questions in an attempt to rule some things out. Was it a predisposition or genetic factors? Was it also environmental factors? Perchance, was it anything related to drug use or substance use? Okay, and these things are ruled out, and the diagnostic statistical manual, the DSM-5, is used to identify the time frame, the clusters of symptoms, and the feedback from caregivers as well as from the self-reports of children to understand what it is they're really experiencing and how to best help. It has to be clinically significant. That simply means that the cognition, the emotions, the social relationships are being affected, the person's day-to-day is being affected. Let's take something like anxiety. They're unable to pay attention in class because their mind is really swamped about what if this goes wrong? What if my mom gets in an accident? They're very, very, very concerned about the future. We also want to, pay attention to culture. What is the person's culture and how is it shaping their response to whatever is causing them distress? Next, the behavior has to be dysfunctional. In little children, you would observe that they may start regressing. If they were very well potty trained, they may start bedwetting, for example. If they were independent, they may start being a little bit more clingy than usual. And that's just it. They're trying to cope with whatever changes are taking place in the environment. By dysfunction, I think my students, they say it best when they say, well, Miss Lloyd, this person was just doing too much, right? So they're observing the response to a particular trigger seem to be just way beyond the actual trigger itself. And we're going to look at the sensitized brain response in the other modules to follow. Now that you understand and debunked the myths of mental illness, I would love to see your comments below in response to this question. Could you share at least 3 times you've observed what you thought was dysfunctional behavior? What about the behavior seemed dysfunctional to you? Please pay attention to the cultural context that you were observing. Was it normal in that particular culture, perhaps? I would love to get your feedback and stay tuned. We have one more free module coming right up.